Hi, my name is Jessica Ansaga, and this is Beyond Ministry. Today we're going to dive into rejection. So rejection was one of the fivefold ministries of death that we talked about in a previous video, and today is the encounter going after it. So we're going to discuss the lies of rejection, what the truth is, how to get free, and go on the encounter so that we can start this journey of getting free from this tormentor. Let's first start with the definition of rejection, and then we will flush it out to see how that spiritually applies to us. So the rejection definition is to refuse to accept, use, or believe something or someone. So fundamentally, what rejection will say, the lie of rejection, the mentality of rejection, will tell us that we don't belong, that we aren't wanted, that we are not loved. It is this pushing away that we feel by God and by others. And when you partner with that mentality of rejection, you feel rejected in all the facets of life. Usually, you never feel like you fit. There's just this misfitting. You don't feel like you belong. And then especially by God, because remember, the enemy wants to kill, steal, and destroy. So any feelings of distance that the enemy can make us perceive or feel about God, it is going to try and hit hard. And so this idea that God has rejected us, that we don't belong, that we are less than, that we're not wanted, this distant feeling will plague us in every area of life, but especially our relationship with God. So typically the reaction to having a rejection mentality is either people will ahead of time reject people. So I know that I'm going to be rejected because I don't belong. So now I'm going to reject you. And there's a self-sabotaging that the rejection mentality can cause. On the other side, if you're not proactively rejecting everyone, the other side of rejection is that you are just painfully, anxiously waiting to be rejected all the time. So at any moment, your friends, your work environment, your church, doesn't matter, God, however it is, you're just waiting to be rejected. You're waiting to be pushed away. And then at that point, you'll face the music and deal with the crushing blow and then try and keep going. So that is typically the two reactions to rejection, is either I'm going to reject people so that they don't reject me, or I'm just painfully waiting to be rejected. And so this tormentor, I compared it to being the prophet in the fivefold ministry of death because it is vision casting. It's saying, look back, see how you have been rejected. Look back and see how you don't belong. And now looking forward, that is your destiny. You are not going to belong. You are not going to be wanted. You are not going to be accepted anywhere you go. Now, it might sound obvious, but I want to tell you that rejection is a lie. The Father wanted you. There couldn't have been more intentionality with the way that you were created. God was fully satisfied within himself. He didn't need more slave labor. He didn't need more money. He didn't need more worship. He had a perfect relationship with Father, Son, Holy Spirit. It's this perichoresis, beautiful dynamic that they had within each other. And yet, they wanted to pour their love out on someone. And so you were created out of that desire. God said, I want to pour my love out. I want to have children. And so he created you from that. Now, it's very easy to say, well, I don't feel like that. Yes, we live in a broken world, and the enemy has done a very, very, very good job of scapegoating God and getting us locked down in these lies and belief systems. Remember, perceived is believed. Doesn't mean that it's reality, but perceived is believed. Very similarly to these glasses. If I put these glasses on, I am perceiving that everything is blue, but the world is not this color. Everything that I'm seeing is distorted than how it actually is. So if I lived my entire life, all seriousness, I was born and raised with these glasses, then everything that I'd be perceiving, I would believe is the reality of life. And that's what has happened with rejection. Rejection, very similarly to shame, will take facts and experiences on earth and then prove the lies to you. So the kids on the schoolyard didn't let you play with the game, or you were picked last, or they said you couldn't play with us at all. The rejection that we face, mom and dad didn't want me, whatever the rejection is, rejection will take a fact and then say, here's the proof for why you don't belong. Here's the proof for why you are not wanted, why you are unloved. And so it's important to realize that the experiences that we have on this earth don't change truth. So heaven's reality supersedes earth and all of the facts that we experience. How do we know this? Because Jesus was rejected on earth. He was despised. He was rejected by us, by man. And yet, he did not take on a rejection mentality. He didn't partner with the lies. Just because he was rejected doesn't mean that he took on rejection. You see, there is no rejection in heaven, so there's no rejection in Jesus. Jesus knew who his daddy was. The entire time throughout the New Testament, we see Father, 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 except for that short little moment on the cross, which I talk about that in the Wrath of God video, that I talk about my God, why have you forsaken me? That is the only time that he calls him God, which is a distant deity type of engagement. Every other time it was my Father, my Father, my Father. Jesus knew who he was. He knew he belonged. He knew he was wanted. He knew he was loved. That was his reality. And he didn't base his belief system around broken people. Hurting people hurt people, and we live in a very broken world. And so Jesus didn't build his theology. He didn't build his framework, his belief systems around the broken world around him. Instead, Jesus believed the heaven systems. He believed truth, and he believed what God has says. And so in this earth, we are guaranteed hardship. Jesus said, you are going to be persecuted. You're going to be hated. You are going to be rejected. But just because we are rejected by broken people, by hurting people who are blind and lost, doesn't mean that we have to take on a mentality of rejection, because heaven's reality is that I belong, I am loved, and I am accepted. So we get to choose which reality we're going to live from. Are we going to live from heaven's reality, or are we going to look at the facts and believe these mentalities that are bringing death to us? When we think with rejection and we have that rejection mentality, we are in fear, or we're constantly self-sabotaging out in our life and our circumstances. We are living in a constant state of fear and a constant state of feeling separated from everyone. It is not a love, joy, peace feeling to be partnering with the rejection mentality. The other option is that we can choose to believe what heaven says. We can choose to believe truth, and we can stand on that. So with that, I want to invite you to come on an encounter with me where we can talk to Jesus about rejection. We can talk to Jesus about the truth, how to break agreement with the lies, how to get free from rejection, and I'm excited to dive right in. So if an encounter sounds new to you, then you can go check out my previous videos. I'll link it in the description, talking about what an encounter is and why we can have a face-to-face personal relationship with Jesus. But if encounters aren't new and you've already gone on them with me, then let's dive right in and break agreement with lies. So first, I want to have you repeat after me. I break agreement with the lie that I can't see or hear God. I break agreement with the lie that God is distant and that he doesn't want to talk to me. And I break agreement with the lie that it is hard for me to connect with and talk with God. And with that, let's close our eyes, and we're going to ask Jesus to take us to a place where we can talk with him about rejection. So repeat after me. Jesus, will you take me to a place in heaven where we can talk? And when you see that place, I want you to look around and find Jesus if you don't see him immediately, and then go and greet Jesus however feels comfortable to you. Jesus, rejection has said I don't belong. What do you say? What is the truth? Jesus, how do I get free from rejection? Jesus, what is rejection doing to my heart? If you're ready to go after rejection, then I want you to repeat after me, and we're just going to make some declarations about rejection. In the name of Jesus, I declare that rejection is a liar. It is a lie that I am not accepted. It is a lie that I don't belong. It is a lie that I am unloved and unwanted. I declare that I'm not going to believe the lies of rejection anymore. And I want you to take all the feelings of rejection, all of the mess, all of the yuck that you feel in your heart, and I want you to hand that over to Jesus. And then we're going to ask Jesus, what do you give me in return? What truth do I need to stand on? Jesus, will you heal my heart of all the effects of the rejection mentality? Jesus, how do I live free from rejection? Jesus, how do I not fear rejection? Jesus, can I come here anytime and talk with you? And however feels comfortable, I want you to thank Jesus for all this freedom and everything he's just done. Yeehaw! Welcome back. I'm so excited for your healing journey. I used to be so tormented by the fivefold ministry of death. Like, so tormented. I was so broken and so insecure and so locked down, and my life has been so radically transformed, and I have just been walking in more and more rest and more peace and more joy. Even still, I'm walking in deeper and deeper levels the more that I am learning how to agree with heaven's truth and believe what Jesus says and untangle from these death mindsets. And so I'm just so excited for your journey and your willingness to go after these things, your willingness to say yes, your willingness to believe Jesus in spite of the lies that the enemy is saying and the lies that are attached to facts. And so to be able to look at these things and say, even though you're attaching facts and you're throwing facts in my face, to be able to say, nope, what you're saying isn't true. I'm not going to believe that. Those are lies woven into that. I'm going to believe what heaven says. I'm just so excited to be on this journey with you because it is so powerful and it's so life-changing, but it also takes a lot of bravery and courage to face these things. And so I'm very excited for you and I'm praying for you in this journey. So great job. I just want to remind you before we go that it oftentimes will take repetition, especially when going after the fivefold ministry of death, because these are deep belief systems that we are operating from. And so our soul typically has an autopilot, and the autopilot's nature is to be thinking with the fivefold ministry of death or whatever other lies and wounds. So the soul has had a lot of practice, a lot of habits built up to think with a rejection mentality. So the encounter works, and it works every time because when the soul's autopilot kicks back in, it's less strong every time. So the autopilot for the rejection mentality will come back at 90% percentile or 85% or 95%, whatever the percentage is. But every time it comes back less strong. So it's very common to need to repeat over and over. We're taking our thoughts captive. We're making them obedient to truth. That's what the Bible talks about. It talks about taking back the real estate of our heart, transforming our life by renewing our mind over and over and over again. So don't be discouraged if it takes multiple times. That is common and that is normal for the deep belief systems that we are wrestling with. Every time that we go on an encounter, it is working. We are getting breakthrough, and you can be free, completely free from the rejection mentality, completely free from the fivefold ministry of death, completely free from any brokenness, because Jesus is big enough. He is big enough for everything that we have broken in our soul, every healing and lack that we have in our body. Jesus has paid for everything that we need, body, soul, and spirit. And so he is big enough. And it just takes aligning our free will to the truth and reality that Jesus has already provided. So I bless you. I'm praying for you, and I'll see you next time.